Hi everyone, welcome. We'll just wait a few minutes for some other people to join before we start. And let me know if you can hear me. Can any of you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right. Thanks for confirming. Okay. Turn off this. Good morning. Olamileka. I hope I pronounced it well. Odunola. Chai, Jesus. Sorry. Mercy. Delexti. Which one? What is Delexti? From Lagos. Yeah. Anyway. My memoirs, light up a cigar, smoke up the memories as I sit and dust them off. Why do people say it's just to piss you off? They know the call button and interest too far. Oduwale.
The odds, it only get tougher back then. We thought times was hard. Told them don't write me off. Told them don't type at all. To all the ones that gave up, this a reply to y'all. That wavy hair kid that you knew been on a tear since. The crowd was lower than the laughter. Now that I'm hammering, the praise for staying committed to something they played with. It was always about us. It's never about who's your favorite.
It's how easy it is to get a skill job. We will discuss that. Just wait for another 4 minutes. Then we can start.
They took another route, so what you think we kings for? Okay. No angel ever said, yo, who these wings for? Ain't no champion ever said, who these ranks for? So don't question what God doing, who you live for. Start accepting who you are, what you do it for. Doing less, doing more.
How easy is it to get a skill job from Nigeria to New Zealand for professionals?
Here go your dreams, what you running for?
That's a good question.
Cause you want it, huh? But it's in your genes, you was born to star. And we done came far. The blessings soon pay off. I don't get a day off. Feel like the playoffs. They like, boy, I'm gonna take off. Bill got laid off. Now we focused on trademarks. We just making hits.
Okay. 3 more minutes, then we will start. This is question and answers, by the way. Question and answer session. So it will be more of me answering you guys' questions. Oh. No. Why did you hear that?
Shout out to the fans from the jump that stayed on. Rolling every hour of the day till the pain gone. Every time we drop, yeah, they know that it's name.
So I don't know if I got your name right, Delexti. I'm going to address that very soon. Just hang in there. Hold on. Stay. I always believe I'm good with names. But I couldn't pronounce Odunola, no. I still haven't. No, not that one. Olamilekan's. His surname, is it a he? Oh, hope it's a he. Is it a he or a she? Most likely a he. Lekon. Lekons are usually his.
Sun goes by, whole new day, trying to get by, seeing you rise, made my day down, trying new ways out, going all way down. Used to be the
All right. Okay. So it's 10 minutes. And I'm going to begin. First of all, and before I start, I know everyone is. What am I going to talk about? First of all, I want to say that I am not an immigration advisor. Let me put that disclaimer out there first. But everything I'm going to share here regarding coming to New Zealand, my life in New Zealand, is going to be from my experience. Okay. So don't take my word and say it's immigration advice. It's things that I experienced myself and things that I've learned by reading on Immigration New Zealand website. So I put that out there first because Immigration New Zealand is hard on um, stuff like that. So yeah, take my experience, take the things information you hear here, but also do your research. All right. And another ground rule is that no abuse is here. Oh. Everybody should be professional, nice on here. Okay. All right. So I'm going to start by answering the questions in the chat, and then I'm going to address some frequently asked questions that people have, brought up to me as well. I mean, brought to me, asked in the comment section, or sent an email, or gone to my social media to ask, like Facebook and Instagram. Oh, by the way, before we go into that, there are different ways you can contact me. One of them is by email, the other one is on my Facebook page, and then the other one is on my Instagram page. Some people have reached out and said that they sent me message on my private social media pages. I don't get those messages, so that's why I always advise you to send message to my Instagram. That's the Sassy Engineer Instagram page and the Sassy Engineer Facebook page. If you don't want to send to my email. If you send to my private ones, honestly, I don't know what setting I had turned on back then. But that setting has made it that if you are not my friend, I cannot see your message. So there is that one. All right, sorry, had to check something. Okay, so let's begin with the first question. And that is from Delexti. Please, how easy is it to get a skilled job from Nigeria to New Zealand for professionals? Very simple answer. It's not easy. Oh. Even being here in New Zealand, finding jobs is not easy. Because we are what? The country is made up of 5 million people. And that's 5 million people all clamoring for the same type of jobs. So it's not easy, but is it possible? Yes. Are there people that have come and gotten jobs from Nigeria? Many. It's going to take a while. Some people have been lucky, they applied the first time instance and got it. Some people applied for over a year and they did not get it. It was maybe 1-2 years later. Some people still now have just given up hope and gone to other countries. So the simple answer is it's not easy, but it's possible. You now have to explore different options that you have. Like I said, you can use the agent, you can apply directly, you can use LinkedIn, you can use Seek. You have to apply first. You know what you want. You want to get a job in this country, you have to apply. In any country, actually. It's not easy, but it is possible. That's me being honest. Now, I learned to come through student visa. You have to pay all your school fees at once. Oh, okay. You learn that to come through student visa, you have to pay all your school fees at once, which is not affordable to you. No, you don't have to pay your school fees at once. Now, on student visa, there are some students that come and study for less than 12 months. There are some students that study for more than 12 months. Most foreign students will definitely study for more than 12 months. So, if you are going to be studying for less than 12 months, you need to have your fees for either the 12 months or your period of studies, whichever is shorter. Yeah. So most of our foreign students, which are going to be applying for mainly fee paying student visa, will be studying for more than 12 months. And immigration is like, you go to the website now, you will see there that they say you should be able to pay for your fees for at least 1 year. So me, I did PhD when I came here and I paid for 1 year. If you don't pay your fees before you apply for your visa, they are going to approve your visa. Well, let me not say they're going to approve because it's up to them. When they approve your visa, it's going to be in principle, which means that they're going to tell you, we've approved your visa, but you should do this and that. Okay, they're not going to give you the visa first until you pay the fees, which is what happened to me too. My visa was approved, and they told me, "Congratulations, your visa." I mean, well, they didn't say congratulations. They said my visa has been approved pending when I pay my fees, and then I paid my fees for 1 year, and they gave me my visa. What now happens is that, and this is why I said, if you've seen that my video that I say you'll be paying renewing your visa every year. When you now pay that visa, sorry, pay the tuition fee for 1 year, they are going to give you 1 year student visa. Then you now have to renew your visa again the next year. So if you manage to have the money to pay for the full 3 years, or that's if you're doing PhD, for the full duration of your studies, I will say that, then of course they'll give you for the full duration of your studies. You only get visa for the period that you've paid for, period of study that you've paid for. Sadly, that's what how New Zealand is. I know some of people like, but UK gives, I'm going for PhD and they give me 4 years. That's UK. This is New Zealand. Two different countries. So that's that for the fees. So the next thing, you don't have to pay all your school fees, but you need to pay your school fee for at least 1 year or for the duration of your studies, depending on which one is shorter. So does New Zealand have pool like Canada and Australia? Don't know what you mean by pool. Oh, Canada is residence express entry. New Zealand has something similar, but there are different types of pools. So right now is the Pacific quota one. That one is just relates to people from the Pacific Islands and Samoan. They do their pool. That one is yearly. There are parent resident visa pools. So if you are a citizen or a resident for a period of time, your parent can be included in that pool, and then they'll do the draw, and your mother or father can have a resident visa, New Zealand resident visa. That's another pool. Then we now have the skilled migrant resident visa, which is the generic one. In that one, I mentioned, I think it was last year, I've done a video, is on my channel, changes to skilled migrant category resident visa. Initially, you needed to just have 160 to 180 points. The points kept changing. It used to be 160, then increased to 180 to meet it. Of course, you need to have a job. Now, sometimes then they could give you the visa without having a job, but then you come here, you need to get a job first, then they now convert to the resident visa. Now you need to have 6 points and a job. So the pools varies. That's for crypto miner. What a name. Hi, Crystal. Crystal. So now, Oduno, sorry, let me first of all give disclaimer. Some names I may get right, some names I'll mutilate. Apologies. Um, what was the question? Is it possible to get? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Am I? Let me know. In any time that your feed is interrupted, just put it in the comment section, okay? Or in the chat, not comment section this time. All right. What is this person's name? Okay. Thanks, Crypto Miner. And my Crypto Miner. Jesus, what is wrong with me? All right. So, is it possible to get job in the educational sector in New Zealand without an English test and get visa? Well, there's a process to get a job in an educational center sector. If you watch that video on when I announced that, I didn't announce, well, where I shared that the government has now made secondary school teachers move them from tier 2 role of the green list to tier 1 role. I highlighted the steps in that video. So I would recommend, highly and strongly suggest that you check out that video, because there's a process to getting a job in the educational sector. It's not just apply and get the job. You have to be a registered teacher in New Zealand. So I would suggest that you go and check it out. Please, if you permit me, let me drop all my okay. Drop all your questions, cause if you want to do one-on-one with me, hey, it's gonna be money. Oh. Anyway, so why is New Zealand migration not as popular as Australian migration? That's a great question. First of all, in my opinion, I think because Australia is a bigger country. Australia is not just a country, it's a whole continent. So here in New Zealand, we are, let me even Google Australia population just to show you. Australia population. Okay. Australia population as at 2022, 26 million people. 26 million people. New Zealand population, let me ask Google. You can even ask Google at the same time, so it will not be like it's me that is forming. As at 2022, still, New Zealand population was 5.124 million. That's according to Google. Now, compare 5 million to 26 million people. Land mass, let's look at land mass. Land mass, Australia. 7.688 million kilometers, square kilometers. Let's look at New Zealand. New Zealand. New Zealand is 268,021 square kilometers. See the difference. Even though New Zealand is the 6th largest island country, let's see if Australia is the largest. What is the largest island country in the world? Oh, not Australia, it's Indonesia. Anyway, what I'm trying to say here is that Australia is bigger than New Zealand in population, in land mass, in GDP. Oh, let's check GDP. Australia GDP. Australia GDP. Per capita. Is that how they used to do it? Yeah. Australian GDP, which is gross domestic product, as at 2022 was let's just say 1.7 trillion US dollars. Let me see New Zealand's one. New Zealand's one was 248. Let me just say 250 billion. See the difference. That one is trillion. Oh, this one is billion. Yeah. So Australia is way, 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 way bigger than New Zealand. And because of that, they have the capacity to take as many migrants as they can. They have more companies there. They have more manufacturing companies there. They have everything they have. They have it there. New Zealand has it in smaller sizes. So New Zealand is trying to control that, because if you just let everybody come, before you know it, population has exploded and you cannot control the population again. And then you now be having issues like we have in some countries. Sometimes it's just they are not able to control. And that's when you have like China now brought out that rule that's one child per family. So all these things affect the immigration aspect. So now they know that okay, even the people that we have, we can't even give them all the jobs that they need. It's now us bringing people. So that's in my opinion. That's why New Zealand migration is not as popular, because migration will be popular depending on how receptive the country is. Look at Canada. Canada is receiving people like come, 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 come. So because Canada is telling them come, it's popular. And it's not just saying come, it's making it easy for you to come as well, like the express entry pool. So that in my opinion, these are some of the reasons why it's not very popular. But funny enough, it's becoming popular because other countries that have been in the business of immigration for years on years are becoming tired of taking people. For instance, UK is bringing out laws and laws because they are trying to manage their population. It's a lot of people for struggling for the same resources, and they have to still give them their benefits. They pay people who are not working, all those things. It's a lot of stress on the economy. So yeah, but like I said, it's becoming popular now. It will not be as popular as Australia, but people who go to Australia and UK usually learn about New Zealand. Anyway, I hope that helps. Okay, now to Atitebi Ulubayode. Sorry. Mm, my sponsor is a citizen of NZ. Can I apply for NZ work visa? Um, Citizenship has nothing. Your sponsor being a citizen, you have to first of all you have to be specific on what type of work visa are you talking about. So if you are new to this channel, I will say you should go and just have a quick look at my what the video that I did on types of work visa, the different types of work visa, or maybe you know the type that you're talking about. Because I don't think your sponsor having a sponsor as a citizen has anything to do with work visa. Work visa is usually you and your employer, except you're a partner to a worker, that's your partner to someone who's on a work visa, or you're a partner to someone who is studying in New Zealand. But um if you're just coming for to work for a company, it's more of the employer. And employers just have to be accredited with Immigration New Zealand and meet Immigration New Zealand's requirements of being an accredited employer. So the next question by Charles Mandor. Is there any Nigerian community in Hamilton? Massive. There seem to be very few Nigerians in New Zealand. Also, shed some light on settling down as per accommodation outside of campus. Those are three in one question. So, first of all, yes, there is a huge Nigerian community. When I mean huge, huge in the sense of New Zealand, huge in Hamilton. I know this for a fact because I have attended some occasions with them. I have a few friends that live there, and there's a huge community there. And I noticed that most people that are coming into New Zealand, Nigerians, often end up in Hamilton. So yes, to that first question, there seem to be very few Nigerians in New Zealand. I've explained earlier when I was talking about when I was answering the Lexi's question comparing New Zealand migration to Australian migration. That's the reason. Now, shed some light on settling down as per accommodation outside campus. I have posted like 4 videos on this thing. So you guys should try and be watching my videos, yeah? On coming to New Zealand and settling in New Zealand. Try and be watching those playlists. I even collected a playlist for it. So now, settling down as per accommodation outside of campus depends on many factors. First of all, the city. Second of all, what type of actually the very first thing is what is your family dynamics? Are you one person? Are you and your partner? Are you here with your children? So your family dynamics will now determine the next thing, which is what type of accommodation are you looking for? So if you watch that video that is on my YouTube channel, there are different types of accommodation, beginning with studio, which we usually call self-con in Nigeria. Don't know what you call it in other countries, but in Nigeria we call studio self-con. They now have 1 room apartment, 2 room apartment, 3 room apartment, 3 room apartment, etc., etc., etc. And this can be in an apartment block, so upstairs, or it can be standalone. So the type of accommodation is another one. You should consider, where do you want to live? Do you want to live close to uni? Do you want to live far away from uni? Do you have a car? Where you are living, is there a bus route? So those are some of the things that you're going to ask question. I'm going to use myself as an example. So when I came to New Zealand, I was living in student accommodation, but I was like, I don't want to live in student accommodation. I want to live with the locals, so that I can learn their way of life. I can learn their slangs, integrate faster. I ended up still living with migrants, sure, but yeah. So it's preference. Some people prefer. I mean, in my opinion, if you are a couple, a family, even living in a student accommodation is cheaper, because student accommodation, at least I'm using University of Auckland as an example here. It's cheaper, especially if you want to live in the CBD close to uni. Student accommodation is cheaper for couple. For single people, it's expensive, plus or minus. But for couple, it's cheaper because you are two people, two adults who will be paying rent. And then this rent includes internet, which if you are living outside, you most likely be paying extra. It includes power bill, which if you are living outside, there's a high, especially now that cost of living is very high, there's a high chance that it's going to be an extra component. And then waste disposal, because some accommodation in Auckland pay for waste disposal. It doesn't happen outside of Auckland. Most of these things happen in Auckland. So those extra charges, but if you are living in uni accommodation, everything is inclusive. The only thing is that you may not have car park. If you want to drive, you may have to pay extra for car park. So it's all preference in the long run. But for me, I find that the farther away you live from uni, from CBD generally, the cheaper it is. But then you now have to factor in transportation to uni. So sit down, do the math, and then choose. Yeah, so it's really preference in the long run. In terms of uni, you have people you talk to. But if you're living outside and you are not flatting, you may not, and you're not a social butterfly too, you will struggle. But in uni, whether you like it or not, there's someone that's going to greet you. So all those things matters. Even though there are some accommodation, especially if you stay in studio accommodation in uni, there's still a chance of being isolated. So yeah. How long does it take to get a job offer from an accredited employer? I can't answer that question because I don't know. It varies. It varies per employer. It varies per role. It varies per how did you apply for the job. If you apply through an agent or you apply directly, some employers will not even respond to you if they're not going to take you. They'll not respond. Do so there is no yes or no black and white answer to that question. And how long does it take visa processing for visa? How long does it take visa processing for job to residency pathway? Can you ask that question again? Because yeah, it's not clear. So Olowa, if you could send that question again, refresh it and make it clear, that will be helpful. Good morning. Christelle says, good morning. Study visa is easy but extremely expensive. Yeah. Yeah. Study visa generally needs you to show that you have money to pay for your studies and that you have the right qualification, which that one is very easy, but it's the money part. So yes, she's right. What are the other ways to get a safe study visa and work? Those are the only two ways. The third way is family. Oh, actually, I take that back. So apart from study and work, you need family. But I'm sensing that you don't have any family here. So family is partner, parent, child, maybe. But outside those ones, you have the business part. So this is really for people who are self-employed, who have talent. that New Zealand wants. 1 second. Okay, take out my this thing. All right, so let's go back to what are the other ways to get here except study visa. So, like I said, I was saying family, then I said business. So that's entrepreneurs. You have a business that you can set up in New Zealand and you're going to employ New Zealanders. Yes, they want you. You have a talent that New Zealand would benefit from. Maybe you know how to make shoes, bags, talent. That's another way you can come to New Zealand. There's actually a visa for that. It's called Global Talent something. Global Talent Visa, New Zealand. Because Australia also has their one. Sorry, Global Impact Work Visa. Global Impact Work Visa. Hi, Pamojo. Pamoja Consult. Hello. Naya, good morning. Okay, so that's another way you can come to New Zealand. Doesn't have to be study and work. It's just that study is easier. You just like Christelle said, like you said, I mean, you need money. Work is also straightforward. It's just that to get that job is a problem. But like I said, if you have the right skills and you are patient and you are strategic, you'll get the job. It just needs you to put in time. And that's what people lack, patience. And that's why most of people get scammed. So be careful and watch my video because then nobody will use your head. All right. What is racism like in New Zealand? Hmm. Obviously not like US or UK or the bigger countries. But yeah, what is racism like in New Zealand? It's thank you. Like, okay, so what is racism like in New Zealand? I don't know because I have not experienced it. Let me be honest. The only time I will say that I experienced racism was when I went to buy I went to Farmers. Farmers is a department store in New Zealand where they sell clothes. Actually, if you want to shop in New Zealand, you should go to Farmers. Just that some things are overrated, in my opinion. Oh. But they sell clothes, perfume, they sell makeup, all the stuff that have little of everything. They have home, they have kitchen, they have whatever you want is in Farmers. So I went there to one of these malls when I was in Auckland. I went to the mall, me and my friend, and we're just going around and sampling things like to see. So you're allowed to window shop, right? But we went in there. If we see something we like, we buy, ba. And then this Fijian girl, I think she's Fijian. I don't know why I think she's Fijian. I just assume she's Fijian. She's she's Indian, obviously, and she's a dark skinned Indian. So it's either she was Fijian. I'm already profiling her. Oh my god. It's either she was Fijian or she was Indian. Or probably no. Okay, let's stop the profiling. She was a girl anyway, but definitely if you see, you know that she's from Asia or has her ancestors from Asia. And I just simply asked her, how much is this thing? Because the price was not there. I mean, if the price was there, why would we ask her? And she goes, "Oh no, that one is expensive. We have something similar for $20. It says," and all of us like, what? First of all, if that was an exam, you would fail woefully because it's simple English. How much is this thing? Why are you explaining too much? Anyway, so that's the only instance I would say I experienced some kind of racism. Well, is that racism or classism? I don't know. But I feel we felt strongly that it's because we were dark skinned Africans. She did not know which part of Africa we are from, Sha, because I mean, you can tell we're African, and she just assumed we don't have money to buy makeup. But other than that, yeah, most the Maori people are generally nice and welcoming. Of course, there are a few bad eggs here and there. Um, yeah, there will be some. I've heard of stories of racism from other people where someone even told somebody go back to your country. I've heard of where sometimes it's very subtle, very polite. It makes you question yourself. Abi, is it me that is overreacting? Yeah, there are those ones, and they're obviously often in offices, work environments. But I haven't experienced that. I guess I don't know. Maybe I look scary. People will not want to bring their wallet to me. They'll be like, this one, oh, she's going to attack me. Oh, let's not go there. Yeah, so it's not bad like you have in US. It's not bad. You won't have anybody attack you on the road, except maybe you have done something to them, or I don't know. Yeah. So there's no straightforward answer to that question. It all depends on people's experiences. And I haven't experienced racism as racism, and I don't know of anyone that has experienced it, but I've heard a few stories, but it's not as bad as New Zealand. And honestly, here is relatively safe because me as a female, I can go out by 12 o'clock in the night and walk on the street. It's not like and nobody will attack me. Obviously, you need to know where you enter. You can't just be walking around. So you don't see danger and put yourself in there, right? But just say, let's say I forgot something in my neighbor's house or my friend's house and I want to stroll down there, you can't actually do that without being attacked. But then again, it depends on where you live. So the next one is wow. Ah, the Lexi. Now wow, your questions is plenty. Is plenty. Anyway, I think there's an ad running now, and we'll just wait a bit for it to finish before we move on. Come and hold me from the King of Kings, whose commands adore Huh. Let's just wait for the ad to finish. Joyful and triumphant, praise on you, come to Bethlehem. Come and behold him.
Say, with this month's Best Buy, say chemist to our
Okay, so let me continue. The next question. All right. Do we have to do skill assessment when coming through skilled visa? If so, what are the steps? Skill assessment. If you're talking about skilled migrant category visa, you need to have 6 points. Oh, no. You need to have 6 points, and then you need to have a job offer. So there's no skill assessments. I don't know what you mean by skill assessment. Okay, let me just say I don't know what you mean by skill assessments. So if you could explain that part more, it would be helpful. Yeah. Also, yeah, I agree with you. New Zealand is one of the isolated countries in the world. Like this is yeah, it's really isolated and it's far away from everywhere. The closest place to New Zealand, the closest big country to New Zealand is Australia, and it's still 4 hours flight at minimum. So yeah, it's it's far away. If you're going back to New Zealand from Nigeria, if you watch that my travel to Nigeria trip where I recorded myself traveling back to Nigeria and coming back, you know how long I took on that trip. Yeah, yeah, is that far. And time zone. So someone just asked here, how do you cope with different time zone discussing time zone is it right now we are 11 hours ahead of in Nigeria. And then when we have the daylight saving, it will be 12 hours. And you have other countries too. So it's yeah. So most people will sit down and be like, small country, far away from everywhere. Is it worth it? Those are the questions. But honestly, New Zealand has been good to me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. New Zealand has been good to me. So yeah. But honestly as well, not everyone has the same experience. There are some people that New Zealand did not treat them well. And there are some people that New Zealand was like their breakthrough. They just needed it. So everyone's experience is different. But like it's also a mindset thing. You have to know that this is not your home country. So not some things, if not everything, would not be the same as your home country. So you mentally prepare yourself. If you haven't, as you're traveling down to New Zealand, they fly to make you to mentally prepare yourself because when you have layovers, your body will tell you. Anyway, so yeah, New Zealand is isolated. I totally agree with you. Does NZ have registered agents who handle skilled visa process? If yes, how do you identify a genuine one, or the process can be done personally? First, I'll answer with the last one. Yes, the process can be done personally. The process can be done personally. You can apply for your visa by yourself. But if you want to use an immigration agent, um, Immigration New Zealand says that person has to be a registered immigration agent. Maybe except the person is exempt, otherwise the person, except maybe you're applying for your parents, then that's a different ball game. But Immigration New Zealand says that whoever you are using has to be registered. It doesn't mean that you cannot take advice from here and there. That doesn't count. So if you get immigration advice for your visa and you write the person's name on that your visa application form, that person has to be registered. Otherwise, I don't know. How do you identify a genuine one? I think it's by the questions and the demands they make from you. For instance, I someone came to me and told me that an agent, it's always an agent, told them that they are going to help them get a job. I mean, I would say yes, use an agent. They're going to help them get a job. But the thing is that it's when they get to New Zealand, they'll get the job offer, and then they have an agent. No, I think they had to go to Fiji first before they come to New Zealand. So it's all from the discussion that you have with this agent. And you ask them questions and they're defensive and they're asking you for money, but they are not telling you what services they are going to be rendering for that your money. Ah, you have seriously. So some people are very desperate that they don't ask questions. Some people just genuinely don't know. But it's from the questions that you ask, how they approach. Can you call them? Do they have a website? Are they registered with Immigration New Zealand? Or are they like working with an immigration agent? All those things add up. So just um I made a video on how you can identify a scammer and a scam visa as well. So those details are on that video. Yes, so like, share, and subscribe to this channel to support me. Thank you so much. Now, hi Naya, I'm happy to see you as well. How do I cope with different times on discussing with your relatives back in Africa? Well, we are human beings. In the end, we adjust. It's not it can be challenging because like I said, 11 to 12 hours different depending on the time of the year. So you will work walk around. Definitely. It's everything is intention. If you want to communicate, you will communicate. You just have to let them know these are the times, and then both of you would agree on a particular time you want to talk, chatting. And someone has to understand that when I'm sending you a message, when you send me a message, I may not reply immediately because I'm probably sleeping. And when I send you a message, you may not reply because you're probably sleeping and you don't expect someone to stay awake and talk to you. I mean, that's just downright not good. So yeah, things to take into consideration. But it's not easy. But as a human beings, where there is a will, there is a way. You will figure it out in the end. But communication, talking about it, the difficulties is what really helps in the relationship because it's a understanding. Yeah. That's just my advice. General intake, when is the latest time to apply for visa? General intake, what general intake and what visa? And young, you have to be specific. I got a job on green list. Oh, congratulations. With 15 years, can I get a permanent residency immediately? First of all, congratulations. Secondly, it depends on the kind of job. If it's something that is on a straight to residence visa, can I get a permanent residency immediately? Ah, no, it has to be. It usually starts with residency. So, engineer with 15 years experience. So, well, like I said, if your job is tier one on the green list role, then you can apply for straight to residence visa. But if your job is not in tier one, maybe tier two, but engineer is definitely tier one. So engineer is tier one. So it's going to be straight to residence visa that you need to apply for. And then you get your residency from wherever you are in the world. So yeah. That's Agrippa, that's for you. Skill assessment is usually done in Aussie for some skill visa categories. Thanks for answering that question. Thanks, Ayodele. Now, what's the shortest time frame to get New Zealand study visa? What is the shortest processing time? So now I posted about this in one time on the community page. I'll just bring it up. So they have average processing time, and like you would know, visa application is usually a case by case basis. What is good for the goose is usually not good for the gander in New Zealand visa application process. So that's something to note. But if we want to get the average time, let me see. So according to Immigration New Zealand, they said it's 3 to 7 weeks. And this is based on application decided in June 2024. So I shared this in the community page. That's the average most visa applications are processed. But if you go to the fact sheet, student visa fact sheet on the Immigration New Zealand website, you will also, I'm going to be looking at a fee paying student visa one. You also see that it says processing time 80% within 6 weeks. So that's something to note. 80% within 6 weeks for now. The next question is since in Nigeria it's done online, how does the student visa get approved? Okay, yeah. So now what happens is you apply for your student visa online and they look at all the documents. Let's say they approve your student visa. They approve your student visa. They're going to give you an electronic copy. So you're going to get an email saying congratulations, or you've got a letter from Immigration New Zealand. You open it and you see that your visa has been approved, and they will include the visa. So that is your visa. All you need to do is to, on their system, they have the copy. When they scan your passport, they will see that visa. But because you're traveling through Nigeria, I don't know, for whatever reason, you need to go with the paper copy. as you're traveling, carry a copy of your visa. And when you go, try and go early because they will still want to verify that that visa is genuine. And I don't blame them because so many scams these days. Some people don't even know that the visa they're carrying is fake. So they would say, wait, somebody's going to check to see, to verify that your visa is genuine. So that's for Nigeria. But once you come into New Zealand, you will they'll scan it and they'll see it in their system. But it's always advisable to print that hard copy, print the electronic copy, the e-visa, and carry along with you. First of all, in case one time Microsoft has an issue, you never know. So you have this copy. So yeah, that will be your visa. If you want a sticker on your passport, you're going to have to pay extra for that. And I don't think they actually do it anymore for student visa. Well, I don't know. But if you want a label, that's an extra charge for it. Why are you paying extra for something that you can have online? So that's just the process, how it's done. Now, Pamoja Consult. Skill assessment is for Australia. What New Zealand has is all right. I see what you were talking about. Okay, yeah. So that's right. Skill assessment is for Australia. What New Zealand has is NZQA, which is New Zealand Qualification Assessment. That is true. Okay. Now, NZ should be around 8 p.m. now. No, it's actually 7:27 p.m. We are a few minutes to 8 p.m. And we're 2 minutes to 1 hour into this live. So I'm going to answer the next question, which is by Naya as well. As an international student coming into New Zealand for the first time, what's the best choice of accommodation? Is the school accommodation or housing outside school? For me, I would say student accommodation is your best choice. That is what I would recommend for anyone coming into New Zealand. But it's limited. So sometimes some people get it, some people don't. Now, what happens if you don't get it? That's when the outside accommodation comes in. And in terms of living off campus, well, outside of uni accommodation, there's homestay, which some people go for. So with homestay, what happens is a Kiwi family, well, doesn't have to be a Kiwi family. A family in New Zealand would have registered with the homestay group and offered to give his or their a room in their house, and they're going to feed you as well. And all you just need to do is bring your bag and leave. You don't have to worry about paying bills. You don't have to worry about food. You don't have to worry about anything. So that is homestay. And on most 18 and under who need accommodation while need to show that they have accommodation while they apply for their visa are required to have that. But people also do it, people who don't really know anything about this country and don't want that hassle of having to think about where am I going to eat, what am I going to wear, light and all those things, also use homestay as well. So that's one thing. You can also go private, but the issue with private accommodation, that's like landlords renting apartment for you. I mean, giving you their rooms or houses that the landlord don't know you. You don't know the landlord. You don't know if this thing is genuine or fake. If you have someone in the country, then it's easy because the person can go and view for you, and the landlord has contact. So that person becomes a middleman between you and the landlord. But if you don't have someone in the country, it's a bit hard. Some people will go through agents, like real estate agents. They too don't know you, and you don't know them if they're actually genuine. But in their case, they are wary because this is business. They're not here for charity. They want to be sure that you're able to pay for this accommodation. So they're going to ask you to pay some money, which you may not be willing to part ways with because are you even sure this person is real? So Yeah, it's very tricky. It's a tricky situation. So what some people do is they go for Airbnb or backpackers, but I don't like backpackers. So I don't usually recommend because I had a bad experience with backpacker. I also had a good experience anyway, so it's like 50-50. If you want to use a backpacker, you have to check the backpacker. Some backpackers like YH are nice. You can also use Airbnb, but Airbnb charges per day. We have some people who host stay that do long what do you call it, long stay. Thank you so much, Gabe. Thank you. This is awesome. Yay, sending love. Sorry for the interruption. Yeah. Hoo, hoo, hoo. I got a gift. Thank you so much. All right. So going back to the accommodation, um, you could stay. So it's very expensive, but 1 or 2 weeks just to settle in the country, and then you will find an accommodation. Another way is you can reach out to Nigerian associations here in New Zealand. And again, there is that level of I don't know you, you don't know me, I don't know what kind of person you are, but they will always be willing to help you so far as you're honest. Because some people lie and then you help and you find out that they are lying. It's usually hard when you help someone and then you find out that they're lying. You will not, it affects the next person who genuinely needs that help. So those are the options that you have. Otherwise, you can just go with your gut feel and rent a private accommodation. And I would say with agents and just check the agent online. There are not a lot of property agents here. So the chances of you being scammed is okay, I take that back. But yeah, it's slim compared to going to private houses. Even while in New Zealand, I've had experience where I was looking for accommodation. It turned out it was scam on well, the website was also dodgy anyway, so I should have known better. But on Facebook, for instance, so yeah, it's tricky. But I always tell people, I'm going to conclude with by saying that I always tell people that when you move into a country, the first year is very expensive. You are going to spend money. Some of the money, when you sit back and look at it, you'll be like, why did I even spend so much? So just make up your mind to spend budget a lot of money to spend, at least for the first few. Because first of all, you're coming in from a country, especially if you're coming from a country whose currency is not as strong as New Zealand's currency. The exchange rate, whew, it's gonna give you heart attack. So just get ready to spend money at least the first few weeks, and then you can settle in. So that will be my advice. If you can get private accommodation, then it's fine. But the chances of someone renting out to you, and I would not advise you to get into a contract because most times when they want to rent out to someone living outside the country, they are going to make you to sign a contract. You don't blame them because they don't know you. What if you come and you decide, oh, this house is too small. I didn't expect the room to be like this. But they would have given that room out to someone else. So they make you to sign a contract. Now, we don't advise people to sign contracts when they have not seen the house because as well as more landlords are also some landlords are also fraudulent. They will put pictures of the house when it was built. But when you go to the house and see the state, even you won't even want your enemy to live there. So don't sign contracts, okay? Except it's uni accommodation, then that one, uni accommodation, they have a standard. If they do anyhow, immigration New Zealand will come for them. So yeah. I always recommend student accommodation. But check the contract too. Because if you sign for 1 year, you cannot leave before that 1 year. And if you decide to leave, you're going to lose money. So check all those things. I hope you that answer helps. Anyway, what is school fee like for children, or is it free for children? Um, School fee is free for children on certain conditions. But if your child doesn't meet that criteria, then that child would have to pay international student fees. So I talked about it on my channel. For instance, your child could be qualified for dependent student, dependent child student visa. So in that case, the child or your child can be, or you could be a PhD student, or there are some criteria that you have to meet. I've talked about on the, there's a video on my channel about that. So yeah, that's it for, and the school fee itself, I've never actually checked it because most of the people that I know, their their children are studying as domestic students. So it's never really crossed my mind to check, but I can do that check and do a video on it for the channel. All right. So hi Demba, good morning. I have a brother in New Zealand. He needs help. Can I get your contact info? Oh, okay. Yeah. So if you go to my YouTube page, you'll see how to contact me, and then just use that one and put your name that you're Demba, and you send this thing on the live as well. All right. So those are all the questions for now. I think I need to take a break. 5 minutes break, and I shall be back. Don't go anywhere, okay?
Take this moment in my dying second. I am Mariah. I am Mariah. Words ain't carry, they will trust inside. It's gonna fill it all up. Like. My phone screams ultraviolet. This ultraviolet. Probably. Det var första gången vi möttes. Våra blickar bara möttes. Kommer du ihåg det igen? Kommer du ihåg igen? Du vill ha ice and little fingers. Då du vet det förlös. All in inga bromsbackar på din vänster hand. Du är så viktig baby. Ja, du är jag. Du är försiktig baby. Du kommer ändras. Det är 50-50 baby. Vet du det var love? Jag växlar upp för dig baby. Ingen annan. Det var fan ingen dans på någon ros när jag träffade någon som dig. Som dig, baby. Det var fan ingen dans på någon ros när jag träffade någon som dig. Du är mitt liv, baby. Aldrig titta på någon annan, varför du med annan? Pappa med my baby. Aldrig titta på någon annan. Finns ingen annan jag vill ha min chakarinja. Måste ha saving och sinna. Jag kommer alltid ride with you. 100 gånger kanske die for you. Du är så viktig baby. Ja, du är Elias. Du är försiktig baby. Men du kommer ändras. Det är 50-50 baby. Vet du vad last? Jag växlar upp för dig baby. Ingen annan. Det var fan ingen dans på någon ros när jag träffade någon som dig. Du är mitt liv, baby. Det var fan ingen dans på någon ros när jag träffade någon som dig. Du är mitt liv, baby. Visa mig vad du finns. Du kommer väl till min city, nej. Jag vet att det finns om det är bra lives and all nights, yeah. Jag vet att jag vill ni kör det. En social smugglare. Jag tvivlar det. Visa mig vad du finns, yeah. Det var fan ingen dans på någon rosen när jag träffade någon som det. Det var fan ingen dans på någon rosen när jag träffade någon som det. Det var fan ingen dans på någon rosen när jag träffade någon som det. Det var fan ingen dans på någon rosen när jag träffade någon som det.
All right. I'm back. I know it's not up to 5 minutes yet. All right. So the next thing is like we'll start charging you for these questions. I beg, anyway, ask, Sha. Ask. That's the reason why we are here. We are here to answer questions. So thank you for your time, Sassy Engineer. You're welcome. This session has cleared so many great areas for me about New Zealand. Oh, happy to help. Always happy to help. How easy is it to get fully funded PhD? With PhD, will one be allowed to come with dependents? Yeah, so I'll start with the last question. Yes, with PhD, you'll be allowed to come with your dependents. Now, how easy is it to get a fully funded PhD? From my experience, it's not easy. It's not easy, but it's possible. The fact that it was not easy for me does not mean it's not easy for others. I didn't say it's not easy. Yes, you have to try and put in your applications. So I know people that came with fully funded PhDs. I actually have one friend that came with fully funded PhDs. I'm sorry. Her PhD was fully funded by the university, by her PhD supervisor. I mean, some people get university scholarship. Some people get scholarships from their PhD supervisor who has a research center that has money. So the answer I would say depends on the quality of your PhD funding application. You need to stand out. So what makes you different out of the, let's say, 1,000 PhD students that applied, potential PhD students that apply? Why should we give you our money? That's the question you should answer. How unique? Why do you think your project, your research is unique enough to be funded by that company or the university, or so you have to sell your uniqueness. Even if your brain is telling you, is it not everything that everybody's doing? It's not. If it was, you won't be doing that PhD. So you have to, every PhD is unique in its own way. It's how you now sell it to the funding organization or to the person that's going to be funding your PhD that matters. So I will recommend going online to read about how you write grant request, research grant request, funding request, and use those formats. Take the ideas there and write yours. Refine whatever you have, knowing that the first draft may not always be perfect. So get ready to rewrite. The first draft may be a lot of words, but as you read, you refine it and you reduce it to something very concise and able to win you a full funding. I wish you the best. It's possible if that's what you're asking. Please, how did you go about your proof of funds for New Zealand? You said you shouldn't ask you, but I'm very stubborn. Nonso, nonso. Me, I'm also stubborn. No, I can choose not to answer, but I will not. Proof of funds. Yeah, that's like I said, student visa. With student visa, you need to show that you have enough money to study in New Zealand without being a burden to them because already they have problem. Not like they have problem. They already have people to take care of. They don't want you to come and add to their burden. That's why they want you to come with your own money. So proof of funds, there are different ways you can show it. And there's a video about it on the YouTube channel, Nonso. But you can either show the money yourself or how did I go about it is the question that you're asking me. So for me, I did not have money. Let me not lie. I was a broke student. But yeah, I had to use family to fund my at least the first year studies. So you need to have financial guarantor or sponsor. So sponsor, a sponsor has to be a a New Zealand citizen or resident. So that one is already out of the way because most likely you may not know anybody that is a New Zealand citizen or resident. So you're now going to have the option of financial guarantor. And the financial guarantor would have to support you by filling out forms, meeting certain criteria, and being able to provide that on top of your tuition free if you did not have scholarship or your study is not funded. So on top of your tuition fee, they should be able to support you by having 20,000 New Zealand dollars per year. So your sponsor should have that money and that money should be readily available to you. So you should be able to access that money. So the requirements of being a financial guarantor, what the financial guarantor needs to do on their own in their responsibilities and all that. I've talked about it in that proof of funds video. And you can also see it under my the student visa video, as well as on Immigration New Zealand website. So that is the alternative. If you cannot get, if you don't have the money to study, but you want to study, you can be sponsored, but your sponsor needs to be a New Zealand citizen or resident. If you don't have such sponsor, then you can go on financial guarantor. If you don't have a financial guarantor, then get a scholarship. Apply for scholarships. There are different scholarships available. There are scholarships that New Zealand government provide themselves. There are scholarships that can be taken from your individual government, which is foreign government scholarship. Now, if your government sponsors you, you can actually apply for the foreign government supported student visa, not the fee paying student visa. So that's something that you should note. You could get scholarship from international organizations. For instance, Slumbeje has scholarships for women. Uh, what other scholarship is there? Well, at least it's Slumbeje that came to mind. But there are some scholarships that sponsor African students, Nigerian students, to study overseas. If you go online, the scholarship for PhD students, there's this popular website. It's called findthephd.com, I think. And then you can not just find PhDs, you could also find funded PhDs. And there's a scholarship website that is called Scholars for Dev scholarships for developing countries. Nigerians are not developing countries. Or if you're from any developing countries, that website has scholarships that are targeted to people from those countries. And you can also see different scholarships. Obviously, some of them are not for New Zealand, some of them are specific for a country. So you check all those things and apply. There's so many scholarships out there that people don't know about. And sometimes when you've started studying, there are also some grants that you can get in your second year Because if you notice, most scholarship out there are for people who are starting their studies. So they are first year PhD students, bachelor students, master students. But then after that, the scholarships are less. However, there are still scholarships that can sponsor you in your second year, in your third year. So those ones are grants. And you would see it if you go to your university website, the university scholarship website, you would see some scholarships that are listed there. Some of them are specific. They specifically state there that is for second year students, final year students, to help them with their writing for their PhD or masters, just to write their thesis, to support them in the last year. Because the first year and the last year are usually the toughest. First year, you are struggling to fit in, you're struggling to adapt to the environment. You are thinking of, when is your next meal, or maybe I don't like this food, is bland. You are adjusting. So it's a bit difficult. Last year is also difficult because you are writing papers, you're writing exams, you're thinking of, oh my God, would I have a job or not? Do I want to go back to my country or not? So a lot of uncertainties during those times. So there are some grants. People don't know this, but there are also some grants that can support you in your second year, third year, and subsequent years till you finish your studies. All right, so that's it for you, Nonso. I hope I've answered your question. And do you still think healthcare assistants are in high demand in New Zealand? I don't think there will ever be a time that healthcare assistants will not be in high demand in any developed country, because they need it. It's a system that supports their elderly, their disabled, the people who are temporarily disabled. That means they can't do help themselves for a period of time while they're recovering. There are people who have like accidents and they are recovering. So they need healthcare assistance. So I don't think there will ever be a time when there will not be high demand for them. So I think they are still in high demand. However, there are some, and because they're in high demand, well, a lot of people are struggling for it. So getting the job may be the problem because everybody wants it. Yeah, both within the country and outside the country. So that's what I'll say for that question. In terms of, they will always be in demand in any developed country. They will always be in demand. Yeah. Hi, Abdul Rahman. It's good to see you. Long time no see. If I have a job offer in New Zealand, can I still study to up my chances of staying permanently in New Zealand? If you have a job offer in New Zealand, you can study, but then that is up to you and your employer. And what's your visa condition state. So yeah, that's the simple answer to that question. All right, we don't have any more questions in the chat. I'll just address some frequently asked questions that I've received in the past. And one of them is, should I go to embassy or should I apply for my visa online? So what you have to know is that New Zealand doesn't have its embassy in all the countries in the world. So if they don't have, and even in the countries they have the embassy, some of them just have in one country. Sorry, one. I would use the word city, one city, and it may be expensive for you to travel from the city that you are living in to that city to apply for the visa. So New Zealand has. So I always recommend applying online for the visa. Obviously, there are some visas that you cannot apply online. You have to submit paper application. But what I've noticed is that there are things that are working on ways to make some of these visas available for you to apply online. But until then, Those visas, you need to do paper application. But the generic one, which most migrants want to apply for to come to New Zealand, study visa, work visa, visitor visa, you can apply for them online. So I always recommend you apply online. If they need your passport, they will tell you to bring it. They will send you a message and ask you to send it to them. So yeah, those are the questions I've had. Another one is still around financial guarantor, which somebody asked, and I've explained that as well. So there's often a question of what is the period of how long should my bank statements be? And financial guarantor, they've stated how long the bank statement will be. It needs to be 6 months, at least 6 months. That one is on their requirement. But for others, they often say at least 3 months, but it's recommended that you can give up to 6 months. 6 months is, it's enough time to for them to see your financial strength. So I've gotten a lot of that question. So that's just the answer for that one. Now, the next one, there's one more in the chat now, which says from Cheese Inspiration. Hi, Cheese Inspiration. What other means can someone come into New Zealand without school? Oh, you missed it. We talked about it earlier. So I'll say it again. Work. Work is another way you can come to New Zealand. But the problem with work, like I said earlier, is finding that job, getting that job offer. You need patience to do it. Some people, like I said, I get it at the first application. While some people will need to apply and apply and apply and get their hearts broken to 1,000 pieces first before they get it. We always pray not to be the second person, but sometimes we end up being the second person. So yeah, work is one other popular route you can use to come to New Zealand. And with work, like it's faster in the sense that if you get a job, and let's say you want to become a New Zealand citizen, let's just say in the long run, if you get a student visa, it's easy, expensive, but it's easy. However, it's a long process. It's a long way, a long road to citizenship. But you are guaranteed going to have citizenship unless you have gone to do the one that you're not supposed to do. You've put your hand in one thing, or you've done like your ways are not straight. Ehen. You've done something wrong, and you now have bad character. That's when you can now have issues. Or maybe you came and you flaunted school. You flunked it. But if you come and you abide by the rules and do what you're supposed to do, then you definitely get it. It's just going to be long. It's just going to be a long process. And you will still end up in that stage. You still land at that bridge where you need to get a job. Though your post-study work visa can be a shield, sort of, gives you enough time to sit down and look for the job, but you still need to get a job. Yeah. So work is the route that New Zealand is trying to get everybody that wants to come into New Zealand to come to New Zealand. But getting that job is a problem. Another way is if you have talent, skills that are useful, that can end up being a business that you can employ somebody. Or if you are an entrepreneur, you have your business, you're self-employed, and you have your business, and your business meets certain criteria, then you can come to New Zealand as well. There are also other routes that are not very popular too, but they usually require you to be highly skilled or extra rich. So yeah, unless you're that, then you can use that. Family is another way you can come to New Zealand. So if you have family here, your parents, your child, your partner, then you can come to New Zealand as well. That's another route you can explore. So cheese inspiration, that one is for you. Lekon, Olami Lekon, what is the best month to visit New Zealand? Summer. Summer is the best month to visit New Zealand because it's warm. If you come in winter, it's cold. It's not as cold as Canada, obviously, but it's cold. So if you are not someone who likes cold, if you are coming from the tropical area, Nigeria, for instance, Ghana, Cameroon, then summer is the best time for you to come. Summer will be the best time for you to come to New Zealand. I am pro summer, so I always recommend summer. But you can also come in winter. Just come anytime that is good for you. All right. So yeah, I guess I've answered all the questions now. Thank you. Tell us about the first job you did when you arrived and how much you. Why do you want to know? I like the way you say my name though. Well, I lived around. I have Igbo friends, and I lived. I don't know why I'm assuming Nonso is Igbo. That's why I assumed somebody was Igbo one time, and the person ended up not being Igbo. Ended up being from a different place. Anyway, you're welcome. Your name is easy to pronounce. So tell us about your first job that you did when you arrived and how much you were paid. I'm not going to tell you how much I was paid. I, that information is not useful to you, but I will tell you about my first job that I did. And that was the role was called what's the name of that my role again? I can't remember. That's weird. It was more like a teacher assistant. So back then in school, while in uni, because I was studying here, I did a PhD. So they advertised there's this Chinese company. So in China, they have a relationship with New Zealand. Some secondary school students, they do what they call an exchange program all the way to secondary school level. So we know exchange program at university level, but China have in the secondary school level where every term or at least every period, students from China will exchange with students from New Zealand. So the New Zealand students, a selected few will go to China, the school anyway, not just go to China, go to a particular school in China that has this relationship and study for, let's say, maybe a period of time. And then the Chinese students will come to New Zealand and study for that same period of time. And then they will switch back. So during that time, they needed people to help. And the topic was one of the way they needed people was for hydroponic. I don't know if you know hydroponic, but it's a way of planting where you plant with water. Well, not just water, but liquid nitrogen and all that instead of soil. So I know about hydroponics because I studied that back in uni as well. Well, by association. I know it by association. So I applied. I didn't expect to get it because it's Chinese. I don't know how to speak Chinese. But I got the job. So that was my very first job in New Zealand. I was a sort of teaching assistant. I can't remember the name. I think it was called PhD assistant. I think that was what it was. Or PhD tutor. Yeah, PhD tutor. But it was more like a teacher assistant. So I was supposed to be there to help. There were a lot of students. There were almost 20 students. And there was just one teacher that was going to take that course. So I was supposed to be like helping out with the practical, which was fun. I got to actually learn. That was where I learned how you can translate by just speaking to your phone. I didn't know that was possible because I was speaking with a Chinese student there and we were not understanding ourselves. So he was like, spoke to it and it translated. And I was like, I wanted to speak. I was like, speak to this. I spoke to it and it translated. So yeah, it was really fun working with secondary school students that they had limited English. Some of them understood English, but it was very like all those go come kind of understanding. Yeah, that was my first job. And yeah, I really loved it. I ain't gonna tell you how much I made. That part you're not going to know. So yeah, interesting. Non, so are you in where are you in the world? Let's ask that question. Where in the world are you? Because you seem to want to know. You seem like you're in New Zealand. All right. If you have your questions, put in the comment section. Let me look at the next frequently asked questions that I have. All right, this one is for. I'm just going to say this briefly because there's a. Oh, you speak Chinese, you. That is awesome. If you speak Chinese, you will be very useful in New Zealand. I'm telling you, because they have a lot of collaborations with Chinese schools, Chinese companies. So you're going to, yeah, you're definitely going to be very useful in New Zealand. Why don't you consider going to China though? And they need people that understand Chinese, but you have to be teaching English mostly. Or are you in China? That's what I should be asking. Yeah, so you will really enjoy New Zealand if you know how to speak Chinese here. Mandarin or Cantonese, whichever one. But Mandarin is very popular. Or simplified Chinese language, the traditional one. One second. Eh, Jesus. Don't follow. Okay. We have 20. We have 24 minutes to go. Let me get ready. I was in China, I just came back. Okay. No, China will be really good. I think, well, as someone I this is an outsider perspective, but I wish to move to New Zealand. Okay, no problem. So New Zealand, like I said, has a lot of it has a strong relationship, working relationship with China. So and we have a lot of Chinese in New Zealand. So the population of New Zealand, like I said, is 5 million. And then you have the natives, which are the Maori people, and the British descendants. So those are like the natives. I'll just add all of them to the indigents. Then the next population is China. After China is India. There are some places that you go, you would not feel like you're in New Zealand. All to their language. The signboard is in their language. Some people in that there are some people in New Zealand that are from the Asian country that cannot speak English. Well, they have limited knowledge of English. So you will not have a problem if you come to New Zealand. You just have to speak the language with them and you become their friends. And I think you won't have a problem with jobs as well. Like if you are, let's say you're studying, for instance, you can easily, this is my assumption anyway, you should, compared to someone who doesn't know, you could be able to work in many places because there are some companies that will need you to be able to speak Mandarin because it's easier, when they're giving the instruction. So yeah, your chances of having a job, a side hustle while you're, let's say, studying, has just increased by you understanding Mandarin. Now, would they employ you? I don't know. That one is up to them. Yeah. All right. So your network is shaky when you answer my question. Please, can you re-answer? Abdul Rahman, fear God now. Can you answer my question, please? Well, this and this ILT compulsory for healthcare associate before you can come to New Zealand. So it all depends on the visa you apply for. I mean, IELTS is really around about the visa that you apply for, not really not the job, but the visa that you apply for. Okay. In this This frequently asked question is what I want to address lastly, but I'm not going to go into too much detail because there's a video that's coming up on that as well. So I've gotten this question a lot. Then I realized that some people genuinely don't know how to go about this thing. And it's for those planning to migrate to New Zealand. So I've had a question asked. None of you have ever asked me about traveling in New Zealand, which is a very important question. Because when you come here, you want to travel. And you notice from my channel, I travel a lot. So I was expecting a question on how can I be like you when I come to New Zealand. Well, anyway, but there's going to be more of these live sessions, so you can ask the question then. Now, there's someone that is for people who are planning to come to New Zealand. The question was, I'm planning to migrate to New Zealand, but I don't know how to go about it. And oh, so I will answer this question first before going to the question in the comment section. Now, how you want to migrate to New Zealand, but you don't know how to go about it. The first thing you need to ask yourself is, why do you want to move to New Zealand? Well, I mean, that question is obvious. Or why you want to move to New Zealand. Now, how do you want to move to New Zealand? What route do you want to use? So, if you saw the video that I talked about the pathways to citizenship in New Zealand, you want to come to New Zealand. Some people don't want the citizenship; they just want to experience the country. That's different. But there are different paths that you can use, like we have discussed throughout this life: study route, work route, business, or you have those your extra talent skill. So you have to decide what do you want to come to New Zealand to do. That will not determine if you are going to study, if you are going to work. Are you coming to join family, or you have a business and you just want to expand your business or move your business? Once you're able to answer that question, that will now determine what visas you should look out to. And I'm talking visa because you are most likely not a citizen or resident. Because if you're a citizen or resident, you just move yourself to the country. Now, if you're a resident, that's a different thing. If your travel conditions have expired, then you know that you need to do variation of conditions. Residents will know what to do. Now, you are not a resident, you are not a citizen. You will need a visa. So first step is to decide what visa you want, what you want to come to do in New Zealand. There are visas that will allow you to study. So if you're coming to study, you explore the visa option. No worries, Alexi. Thank you so much for your time as well. Thank you. All right, so let's go back to the topic. You're coming to study, you need to explore visas that will allow you to study. You're coming to this nonsense is a stubborn person. I think you're going to be a problem. Anyway, all right. So Nonso, you can send me a message on my WhatsApp. Sorry, not WhatsApp. On my Facebook page or my Instagram page, or you send me an email. That's how you can contact me. Now, let's go back to how to go about migrating to New Zealand. So study, you can study in New Zealand. Maybe you want to work in New Zealand, or maybe you have a business that you want to expand in New Zealand, bring to New Zealand, or you're coming to join family, or you want to visit, but visiting is not migrating. Visiting is just, I'm coming to enjoy New Zealand, experience the country, and go back to your country. Studying is also generally not migrating, but there's a chance of you living in New Zealand. There are visas that will allow you to study. You explore those visas and see which one suits you. If you're coming to work, there are visas that allow you to work. Explore those ones and see the ones that fit you. Same with business and the rest. Now, for work visa, the main visa is accredited employer work visa. That is a main New Zealand temporary work visa. So when someone, an agent comes and tells you, come, I can give you work visa to New Zealand, you say which one? They say work visa. No title, no type. The weary. Those are the signs. New Zealand has a name for all their types of visas. Then study visa, the general one, the common one is a fee paying student visa. So explore the criteria. Then once you explore what is needed, you now start getting to work. For instance, if you want to study in New Zealand, you need to have a mission to study in New Zealand. If you want to work in New Zealand, you need to have a job or job offer. If you're outside the country, it's going to be a job offer. If you're coming to do a business, there are certain criteria that you need to meet. So you do that research and get everything. And once you have gotten all your documents or met all the requirements, you apply for the visa and then you wait. So the visa process, like I said, you can apply for your visa yourself. You don't need to use an agent. But if you want to use an agent, make sure that your agent is a registered immigration advisor, or that agent works with a registered immigration advisor, or someone who is exempt. Someone who is exempt is someone like a lawyer, an immigration lawyer. Those are the types of people. So make sure, because when you go and work with someone who is not registered and then you fill their name in that form, you could end up in problems. You don't want that. So be very careful who you give money to. Now, watch those videos that I have on types of work visa, types of New Zealand visas to know the type of all those things. And once you apply for this visa, you wait. Once your visa is approved, you pack your bags and come to New Zealand. Oh, there's also the accommodation bit, which we talked about earlier in this live video. And travel. What routes should you use to come to New Zealand is usually another question. And I have a video discussing this in too much details if you ask me. So go and check that out. And once you come to New Zealand, look for your community. Some of you like to isolate, and then when you now have problems, you now be running helter skelter. So look for your community and join them. You don't have to, you know, be friends with them all the I mean you need to be a nice person and friendly, but you don't have to be hanging out with them 247. You get what I mean? But you should be friendly, you should attend the meetings, you should just stay up to date, because when something happens that you need help, you know who to run to, and you're not stranded, and you can ask questions. Maybe you want information, you ask someone in the community. But if you're isolated, it's going to be difficult for you. Sometimes you don't even need to ask. By the time by association, you learn about what is happening, and you don't have to limit yourself to people from your country or your community. You can even be getting more information from someone who is not even from your country than someone from your country. So I always tell people to um socialize. Of course, I'm not saying go and be best friends, besties, and travel together, eat together. No, but just be cordial to people and socialize basically, so that you can learn about what's happening around you. And it's not going to be easy. You're out of your comfort zone. People are not going to be like people back home. So you have to make the effort to go out there, intentionally meet people, especially if you're not a social butterfly like me. Anyway, so yes, Gates, you can be a part of my next trip within New Zealand, please. Next trip we are going to is going to be in the South Island. We're supposed to be in the South Island this winter, but number one, it's expensive. Two, the weather has been somehow anyway, sha. So yeah, so maybe next trip is going to be like probably do Christchurch or Queenstown. It's been a while we went to Queenstown. So yeah, you can join us for the Queenstown trip. I have got things to whisper to you. This Nonso is definitely going to be a stubborn person. Oh, he already said it. Is he a he or a she safe? That's another question. So Abdurrahman Bello, how can one go about IELTS test, like going through the process? Oh, IELTS test is very easy to follow process. So if you want to write IELTS test, you have to decide what type are you writing. Are you writing academic or general? Because IELTS tests are two, academic and general. So once you decide which one you're writing, if you need IELTS to get admission, because Immigration New Zealand will not ask you for IELTS for student visa. That's what you should know. If you need to write IELTS, it's because your university requires you to write IELTS before they give you admission. Okay, note that. So for student visa, immigration New Zealand has nothing. They don't want IELTS is not a requirement. Now, if it's for studying, it's definitely going to be academic. If it's for any other thing, you need to ask them whether is it the general one you want or is it the academic one. Now, once you decide that, you book your test and then you practice for your test. I will not say decide today and book test tomorrow. I would recommend that you give yourself enough time to practice. So if you want IELTS for university and they told you, gave you an unconditional offer, and they said, okay, we are going to give you this admission, but you need to give us English language test. You know, first thing that you will do is to panic. Oh my God, I don't have English language test. What should I do? Relax, first of all. Don't panic. Write them back and tell them that, okay, oh, I'm going to give you the English language test, but I cannot book it now. This is when I have, this is the next availability. And they will generally say, no problem. When you have it, you give it, you bring it to us. Of course, they're not going to let you go and wait for 2 years. No. So then you now look at how much time do you need to practice, and then you book your test. Write the test. When you are booking for the test, they're going to ask you where you need the results to be sent to. So you fill in the details. They're going to, once you finish writing your test and your results are ready, they will send a copy of your result to you, which is standard procedure, and then they'll send a copy to whichever organization you put them to send a copy to. But you also will now let your, if it's university, you let them know that, okay, the result is ready, and they'll be like, no problem. So that's the procedure for writing IELTS test. The main thing is not panicking, because I'm Nigerian and our official language is English. We had to learn English to move through schools. If you don't pass English, you're not getting admission in university. Nothing anybody will tell you. So you needed to pass math and English. So already you've been learning English all your life. Some of you cannot speak your native language, but you can speak English. So why are you panicking for English language test? It's because of the word test. People don't like to be tested. So just relax, prepare, and you'll be fine. I have 2 videos on my channel where I gave tips on how to pass your English language test. I had a 9 in listening. I'm a good listener, I know. So go and watch those videos, and it's going to help you. So Abdurrahman, that is for you. When I come to New Zealand, I come to you and we'll go out together. Yes, so yes, so yes, so you come and take me out because I've tried for you. Yeah, fine dining only, okay? All right. So yeah, I think I've addressed most of the questions now. We just will wait to see if anyone has any question. But so far we have tracked really well. Thank you everyone for coming out and participating and asking your question. It's really good to you know get to chat with you guys one on one, well, in real time. Of course, not face to face, but this is better than responding in the comment section, well, faster. So yeah, it was really nice. We will wait till the 2 hours is over in case somebody just comes in now and wants to ask a question. In the meantime, let us enjoy this free Afrobeat music. Nonso, there is no WhatsApp. Nonso, there is no WhatsApp. There is no WhatsApp, Nonso. It is Facebook, the Sassy Engineer on Facebook, the Sassy Engineer on Instagram, or you send me an email. Or actually, there is a WhatsApp channel. What am I saying? I have a WhatsApp channel. If you go to my YouTube page, you will see the WhatsApp channel. Join the channel. Join the channel, people. You guys should be coming. All right, so let's see. So now, so you go on to my page on YouTube, the Sassy Engineer. When you open it, it's going to show you me, and then you are going to see links and 4 more links. Click that. You'll see my Facebook, the link to my Facebook page, the link to my Instagram page, the email address, view email address, and then the WhatsApp channel. So you click that to join the channel. Okay? I hope that helps. Now, if you want to contact me, if you go on to my YouTube page as well, you're going to see how to contact me. I should post the link in this live. What am I saying? Yeah. Yeah. So I've put the WhatsApp link in the chat, and I'll put the Instagram link in the chat. The Facebook link as well is going to be in the chat. It's coming up right now. And now, if you want to have a one-on-one conversation with me, you need to schedule an appointment because time is money. Yeah. So if you want to have a chat with me, you need to book an appointment for us to have a chat. That's you want to have a one-on-one conversation. It's faster instead of typing with the time difference, and I'll reply 12 hours later, and you will now reply 12 hours later, and I'll reply 12 hours later. So just book the one-on-one and we'll chat and finish it up in 5-10 minutes and move on. Yeah. I also have my blog. Yeah, so click the WhatsApp channel. Click the WhatsApp link to join. So I also have my blog. So people who don't like watching videos, or you're saving your data, or you don't, maybe your job, so you can't really do with the noise, and you don't want to be wearing earpiece because then it will look like you're not doing your job. Yeah. So you can go and read about most of the things I posted on my blog. It's called the sassyengineer.com. And I'm just going to put the website address in the chat right now. There you go, it's in the chat. So visit all those links that I've put here and in the chat, and follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. Yes, so someone gave me gift, Lexi. So you can gift me if you want to gift me as well. Somebody gave me gift. So I've been answering your question as well. So if you want to gift, you can give the gift as well. Do you get it? Yeah. That's just to show support for, the live and answering questions. And I really, really appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, so subscribe to my Instagram, like my Facebook page, and join the WhatsApp channel. Those are ways you can get up-to-date information. Share these things with your friends and people within your network, or just put it on your timeline. Some information, some people will engage. They may not like the post, they may not comment, but they have engaged. The Lexi, I'm telling you that the gift of that money it was given to me. Someone gifted me the money. It's not scam now. Why are you like this? So it was a gift given to me. And how do you do that? If you look at where you're going to, if you're wondering, if you look at where you're typing your chat, you will see the emoji icon, and then you see one square that has dollar in it. Now, if you click that link, it's going to tell you show your support for the Sassy engineer. So that's where you click the link and show your support for me. Support for YouTube means, in this case, is they'll tell you what to do when you click it. They'll tell you can either send super stickers or you can send super chat. So that's how you show support. Yeah. So that's it. All right, now, so we are coming to an end with this live. Thank you so much for coming to our first of many live. You're going to let me know if the time was too much or not. All right. So much. It's your girl, the Sassy Engineer. It was nice to connect with you. Bye now. Oh, before we end, let me know if the next live should be 1 hour or 2 hours, if this time is okay for you. Okay? All right. Toodles. Bye, everyone.